as a single parent, do you need to have an estate plan? You see, that's the question somebody asked me recently. Particularly when you have just one child, do you need to have a will or have a trust? So the truth is, I feel it's even more sensitive and necessary for you to have an estate plan because you are a single parent and you have just one child. More sensitive. I know a lot of people might think, oh, since I have just one child, there's no other person that's going to be dragging the properties with the child. No husband or no wife to, reduce what the child gets. And all my bank accounts, my properties, everything will just go to the child. It doesn't matter. I don't need to disturb myself with the will or planning an estate thing. No, it's not true. It is better to protect that one that you have as a single parent with just one child. You know that, yes, everything is supposed to go to that child. But why don't you just take the extra step to set up a trust and put everything in that trust for that child? Or do a will and say, okay, upon my demise, everything I have go to my child. Now, let me give you one scenario, or let me paint a picture for you to be able to understand this concept very well. As a single father or mother, you have a child that is, let's say, 5 years old, and you say you don't need to have a trust or have a will. The truth of the matter is that a 5-year-old child cannot take care of the house. A 5-year-old child cannot operate a bank account. So if you, as a single parent or as a passes on today, and you know that everything will go to your child, who will operate those accounts on behalf of that child, that minor? Who will operate or run or manage the properties on behalf of that child? Even setting up a will is not the preferable approach for me. I would recommend a trust for single parents. Why? So that upon your demise, the responsibility to manage the properties, the responsibility to take care of the child's education, maintenance, and upkeep would be on the trustees. If you set up, if you make a will, if you decide to make a will, then you must set up a testamentary trust in that will. A testamentary trust means a trust that you put in a will. So what I mean is that you would make a will. However, you can say my properties in so I give to my son, and appoint a trustee company who would take responsibility for managing the property until the child becomes of a particular age, when the trust company will now transfer the properties to the child. But if you just make a will directly and say, I give this property to my son, I give this property to my son, my investment to my son, everything to my son, and you pass on and the child is maybe 10 years old, and you did not appoint a trustee to hold those assets and manage those assets on behalf of the minor, what will happen? That is the point where the risk sets in. You will find uncles trying to claim rights to be guardians of the child so that they can have access to whatever you have given to the child. You will find an auntie coming to say, I'm the guardian of this boy or this girl. They want to operate the bank account. They want to have access to the bank account so that they can get access to the monies. Instead of spending the monies on the child, they are going to spend the monies on themselves or do whatever they want to do, or use the money to take care of their own children instead. So as a single parent, particularly with a single child, make sure you set up a trust or you make a will. And for you to decide whether you want to make a will or you want to set up a trust, consider the age of your child. If your child is an adult, then you may not have to bother too much for a trust. You can just go straight up and set up a will. But if your child is a minor, your best bet is a trust or a testamentary trust. A trust is directly a trust, straightforward. You set up a trust. But if I say a testamentary trust, it means I'm telling you, you can set up a will, you can make a will, but make sure you put a trust in that will.